Hello, this is Hollywood Around the Edges. I am Janet Royce, and over there is
Laura
who?
Wagner.
Laura Wagner. Hollywood Around the Edges, coast to coast. So today we are going to talk about the third of the trifecta. In the picture that we had up last week when you clicked, there was this wonderful picture from a movie called The Good Dame. We identified on the left that was the wonderful and beautiful Dorothy Dell. There's a mystery woman in the center. We don't know who she is. The woman on the right is an actress named Muriel Evans. And all three of them are in this publicity still. None of them were in the movie. And this picture is entitled The Hoochie Coochie Dancers from the Dame Tent. Okay, their words, not mine. And so all three of these women were playing these harem girls in the photograph. They never were in the movie. So Dorothy Dell, Mystery Woman, Muriel Evans. The only thing that I know about Muriel Evans was that she had won a beauty contest put on by Paramount, and she won that beauty contest. And Carol Lombard was one of the judges. So I'm guessing because The Good Dame was a Paramount picture, this is why she's in the photograph. Dorothy Dell, too, was signed by Paramount. So that's why those two are there. But that's all I know about Muriel Evans. Laura, you got anything else?
Okay, well, her mother was a maid at First National Studios. So Muriel would play on the sets when she was very young, and she was discovered by director Robert Z. Leonard and put into movies, but mostly comedy shorts. She did a lot of westerns, and then she was under contract to MGM, where she was in Manhattan Melodrama, which was the movie that Dillinger watched on his last night on Earth. He came out and the
Mhm.
FBI shot him down. But she has a great character name in Manhattan Melodrama, Tootsie Malone. So when she was 18, she married Michael Cudahy, hopefully I'm saying that right. He was an heir to the Cudahy Packing Company. Obviously, they had millions of dollars. She was the third actress he became engaged to, but his mother had stopped the others by even putting him in jail at one point because he was an alcoholic even at the age of 21. Um, they divorced in 1931 after about 2 years of marriage. She later married, a stockbroker, and they moved to Washington, DC, because she had left by that point, she had left movies behind, and she had a local TV show and some radio programs. And then she was widowed in, 1971. So she did have a happy life after that first misstep with, Michael Cudahy. But, some people get her confused with Madge Evans. She was also at MGM. She was in
Right.
Dinner at Eight. She was at Dinner at Eight. She was the daughter of Billy Burke and Lionel Barrymore, engaged to Phillips Holmes, but in love with John Barrymore. You figure that one out because it's doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, she had a pleasantly dull life.
Okay. Sometimes no news is good news.
But, oh, Madge Evans, by the way, if you wanna know about Madge Evans besides being a Dinner at Eight, she was married to Sidney Kingsley, the playwright, who got a Pulitzer for Men in White. He wrote Dead End, that's the Dead End Kids, and Detective Story. That man did not have to work after a certain point because I'm sure he made a lot of money on those plays. But that's all I've got on Muriel Evans and Madge Evans. No relation, by the way, they're not related in any way.
That's right. So Muriel Evans had a sort of a happy, well-ish life,
Well, yeah,
and
mostly.
so that's that, but do not get her confused with Madge Evans, who is married to Sidney Kingsley. Muriel Evans, well, you know what they say about marrying people in the packing business. So, Edgies, Don't get them mixed. Muriel Evans, Madge Evans, do not mix them. Do not mix them up. All right, so we're going to move on to part 2. So, Laura, you have been such an inspiration to me because you have told me about all these wonderful book sales that you go to. It inspired me to look at my vast library, and I found a book. I looked at this book and I thought, why the hell did I buy this? And then I remembered why I bought it. And Edgies, this is a story that is going to take you everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but it's going to take you from June Havoc to Ernest Borgnine. Stay with me. Okay. So I'm looking, there's this book, My 10 Years as a Counter Spy, is this book that I bought by Boris Moros. Okay. Goes like this. There's a movie called High Diddle Diddle. It takes the screwball comedy to new heights. 1943, starring June Havoc. June Havoc, of course, was the little sister of Gypsy Rose Lee, Baby June. Dennis O'Keefe, Adolphe Menjou, Billy Burke, Martha Scott, who had such pretty eyes. I always loved Martha Scott's eyes. And Pola Negri. Pola Negri is going to show up later. Later, not in this episode, but later. High Diddle Diddle was a favorite movie of, apparently, Quentin Tarantino. And in fact, he liked, there's 2 songs in High Diddle Diddle. One of them is called The Man with the Big Sombrero, and the other song is called I Loved You Too Little Too Late. Tarantino loved the Man with the Big Sombrero, and he used it in the movie Inglourious Basterds. It was also recorded by Pink Martini. And it's okay. I mean, it's this novelty tune, right? Okay, that's fine. But there's this other song in there called I Loved You Too Little Too Late, sung by June Havoc. And this song is fantastic. It's really good. The lyrics are great. The lyrics are by a guy named Foster Carling, who did a lot of stuff with Spike Jones. And the music is by a guy named Phil Boutelger, who actually was nominated for an Oscar for his score for High Diddle Diddle. But he wrote these 2 tunes. And I thought, and I remember years ago thinking, oh, let me see if I can find the sheet music, because that's what I do. I love finding sheet music. So I thought, how hard can it be? Well, let me tell you, it was very hard. Every avenue I went down was a dead end. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm searching around YouTube, and somebody had posted a video of June Havoc singing I Loved You Too Little Too Late. And underneath, this person wrote, music was published by the Boris Moros Music Company, 1470 North Vine Street, Hollywood, California. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's a clue. So I searched that. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Dead end, dead end. So I think, well, let me find out who this Boris Moros guy. Well, Boris Moros actually was the head of music at Paramount, but he also had this music publishing company, and he did publish sheet music, a lot of novelty tunes, and a couple of the tunes actually come full circle, Edgies, because he had sheet music for a song called "There's Nobody Home on the Range," with lyrics by Eddie Chircos, if you will remember him from previous episodes, and The Brazen Little Raisin, sung by,
Oh.
wait for it, hello, Tom Wagner, the Sportsman.
Ta-da!
Okay, and both songs can be found on the Crooner One, Tom Wagner's channel. Anyhow, so I'm like, okay, I don't want that sheet music. I want the sheet music from High Diddle Diddle. Can't find a cam. So then I'm doing more research. Well, check this out. Boris Moros Music Company in 1943 was actually a front for a covert, it was a covert financial front for a Soviet spy ring. No joke. That's what it was. There's a bunch of books on that. It's really interesting. But then later, he became a counter spy. So he was a spy, then he was a counter spy. And he wrote this book called My 10 Years as a Counter Spy, which was turned into a movie called Man on a String, starring Ernest Borgnine. So silly little me is looking through these books trying to find where the hell is the sheet music to High Diddle Diddle. And of course, I couldn't find it. And there's that's all I care about. Uh, but so then I'm like, okay, let me revisit this. And I look at this guy that posted the thing saying that it had been published by Boris Morris. We said, this is a guy named Rudy. And I'm thinking, well, let me find out who this Rudy guy is. So I'm searching and searching. I think Rudy is right. There is sheet music out there. And why do I think Rudy is right? Because Rudy is a guy who has published the international volume of sheet music rarities, 25 volumes of sheet music rarities. And when my oil gusher comes in, I'm going to buy all 25 volumes and see if the sheet music for High Diddle Diddle is in there. So this Rudy guy, he knows what he's talking about. It must be wonderful to look through these volumes. But anyway, so that's my story. Edgies, if you know if there's any sheet music to I Loved You Too Little Too Late from High Diddle Diddle, sung by June Havoc, let me know. That's what happens when you go and you look at the books that you have. It takes you down all these twists and turns. So, Laura,
Yes.
did you go to a book sale today?
Yes, another book sale I
What
did.
happened?
Well, I got a few good books, but I'll just tell you just maybe a couple.
Okay.
My First Five Husbands and the Ones Who Got Away by Rue McClanahan. The Rue McClanahan.
What?
It says on the bottom, there's a quote from Liz Smith. This Golden Girls book is a riot. All right, this one I don't know how everyone's gonna think about this one, but John Wilkes Booth and the Women Who Loved Him. Why, right? Why? But then again, why not? I remember being in the dollar store and I said, "Oh, there's a DVD of a Dolph Lundgren movie. It's only $1." And then I went, "Wait, it's a Dolph Lundgren movie for $1? Oh, why not?" So I got that.
And so you have picked up lots of books at these book sales. So you got this book on John Wilkes Booth's women. What else is an interesting one?
The autobiography of Oliver Hussey. It is. It's Olivia Hussey's autobiography. And then this is the best one of all of them. It's called Gorgeous George, the outrageous bad boy wrestler who created American pop culture. I've always wanted to read about Gorgeous George. I think my grandma used to watch him. He was really big on early TV, because wrestling would be on it. Everyone would watch it. And he was a heel to end all heels. He was in a movie. He had a supporting part in a movie called Alias the Champ. And that's from 1949. It's Republic,
Okay.
and it had the best working title. It's called Pardon My Toehold. So I open the book, and I read about his friend Jake Brown. Jake Brown, I have no idea who he is because I just opened
Okay.
it up to this. Okay, so he was with Gorgeous George in a bar. Gorgeous George was a very big drinker, very bad drinker. Well, he was trying to impress two girls at this table, and he stood up, he unzipped his pants, and he stirred his drink with his private area. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. This Jake Brown said to his wife later, "I've seen George do some crazy things, but that stunt left him stunned and silent, but the ladies were charmed." What the hell? You know what Gorgeous George's real name is?
No.
You're not gonna believe it. It's George Wagner. And also, I will tell you one more thing about Gorgeous George. He was the inspiration for Muhammad Ali and John Waters, the filmmaker. That was one of his idols. So that's all I know about Gorgeous George at this point.
Well, that's quite a bit, actually. You gave us a very vivid picture of Gorgeous George. And what's the name of the film that he was in if we want to see it? What's it called?
It's Alias the Champ, 1949. It stars Robert Rockwell, who was on Our Miss Brooks, and he's trying to clear Gorgeous George of murder.
So let's see. We went from a pre-code Dame tent to Ernest Borgnine, to June Havoc, to John Wilkes Booth, and Gorgeous George, all in one fell swoop. So there you are, Edgies. Please let us know if you know who that middle dancer is in that photograph. And if you have any questions or comments or anything that we said that you know about, like where in the hell is the music to I Loved You Too Little, Too Late from High Diddle Diddle? That is the question.
Well, I do want to say, Desi Arnaz Jr., if you're listening to this, call me.